Okay, here are a couple examples of how to write the equation. So we're going to be writing out sine equations. There's no difference whether it was a sine or a cosine there. What changes is that a, b, and d based off of the information that you're given. So this first one says we've got an amplitude of 5. That automatically tells us that in our equation right here, little a is going to be 5. Okay, it also says, I'm going to come back to period, it also says that the midline is at y equals -2, which automatically tells us that our d is -2. Those two, not too bad, kind of nice and easy. Then when we come down here to the period, a period of pi needs a little bit more work. So if you remember, the formula for period was 2 pi divided by b, which is what we're actually going to plug into the formula is b, not p. So it is not pi that goes in there next to the x. We have to actually find the value that when I plugged it into here, that equaled just pi. So I like to think of it like a formula. An equation. 2 pi over b equals pi. And then to get rid of that b out of the denominator, basically. We can't solve for a variable unless it's in the numerator. So I'm going to cancel it over here, just like I would as if it were, divided by 5 or something. Multiply both sides by the b. So at this point, we are 2 pi on this side equals pi times b on this side. And again, I want b all by itself, so I've got to get rid of that pi. Now, pi is just a number. It's just this never-ending number, so we have to represent it with some kind of symbol. So whether it was a 4, an 8, a p, a pi, any kind of symbol, anything being multiplied by another thing can be canceled by dividing by it. Now, it just so happens on this left side, it's also going to cancel out the pi's, which leaves b equal to 2. Those are the values that we're going to actually plug in to make our equation. So we had y equals a sine of bx sine of bx plus d. Okay, plugging in what we've got. Was it y equals or f of x? So y equals a was 5 sine of b, which was 2x, and then d was -2, so -2 at the end. There's the answer for that one. So the a and the d, the amplitude and the midline, are really easy. You just pull those numbers out. Period, you've got to kind of work yourself backwards. You've got to figure out what the number was inside the formula that, when reduced, gave us our actual period. And it's using that whole formula, p equals 2 pi over b. Now, I'm going to show you a little shortcut. If it's confusing, don't worry about it, but for some of you, this will be a time saver. If I were to take this formula as is, and I didn't have a p, but I wanted to solve and figure out what b is, I would follow the same steps as I did over there and multiply both sides by p to get rid of it. Then I would have b times p equals 2 pi. Have to get rid of that p. And what I end up with is a formula for b, which is actually just 2 pi divided by the period. So the point here is that the period formula, 2 pi over b, can be reversed to help you find the period. The b, sorry. Period equals 2 pi over b. That means b, that number that goes inside here, can be found by taking 2 pi and dividing it by that period that was given to you. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, let's identify the easy pieces first. Amplitude, which is little a, is 1. And our midline over here, easy, it says y equals 1/5. So D is going to be 1/5. Okay. Now we've got to go with our period. This says P is 4 pi. And again, you can take 2 pi over B equals 4 pi. Go through and finish solving. Multiply by B. Then you've got 2 pi equals 4 pi B. Divide by the 4 and the pi. Over here, the pi's cancel. You get B equals 2 over 4 or 1/2. Okay, and we've got all our pieces. We would say y equals, amplitude A is 1. Do we need to write the 1 there? No, he's a superhero. He doesn't have to be written there. He's usually invisible. He only gets written when we need him. So we're just going to say sine. And then we've got a B of 1/2. Put the X in there. And finally, our midline, it's positive, so it's going to be plus 1/5. Again, just a little side note, this shortcut that I gave you, if you were to apply it, right, little side note here, B equals 2 pi divided by that period. And that would go directly to 1/2. And it's completely up to you which one you use. It just can get a little confusing when you use this formula, but if you can keep them straight, do the easier one. I'm all for that. We like easy. Okay, next one. Amplitude 1/3, easy peasy. A equals 1/3. Midline, y equals 0. That means D equals 0. Period is pi thirds. That means we've got to solve this equation. Multiply by B. Got 2 pi equals pi over 3 times B. Now, you can do it in 2 steps if you want to. You can get rid of the 3 first and then the pi. Or if you can remember that in order to get rid of a fraction or divide by pi thirds, right? Hate dividing by fraction. It's the same thing as multiplying by 3 over pi. So dividing by the 3 over pi is, dividing by pi over 3 is the same as multiplying by 3 over pi. So I'm going to just multiply that over here. It's going to cancel those pi's and just leave 2 times 3, which is 6. And that's our B. Okay, let's write out that equation. Y equals A, which was 1/3, sine B, which was 6. Don't forget the X. And then our D was 0 plus 0. We don't need to write. So that would be the ending of that equation.